Alright, we had a pretty big reveal for the new Haslab, and it is going to be Omega Prime from the 2001 Robots in the Sky show. To me, this is very exciting. Robots in the Skies just hasn't really had a whole lot of love. I mean, I know we got the Velocitron Scourge and Tow line from the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line, but it's definitely been one of the more underrepresented lines over, hell, the past few decades. About the only major thing I can think of that it's gotten since its initial release was the Generation Skybite, so I think this is a pretty cool pick for the 40th anniversary. I know people were expecting G1 or maybe something to be kind of a bit bigger for the franchise in general with like Primus or something like that. And don't get me wrong, Primus would have been super cool, especially with how great the Unicron turned out, at least in my opinion. But I like that a series that hasn't really gotten a lot of love and is still considered one of the major versions of Transformers and is really the first true reboot that the series had. I'm just happy to see it getting some love. So getting into this, obviously there is Omega Prime, but it splits apart into Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus. Starting with Optimus here, I think he is a great updated version of the Robots in the Skies Prime. The fire truck form looks great and spot on. The regular robot form is awesome, even though it has some of the proportional issues that I've always had with that design, like the thighs and stuff. For better or worse, that's just the design, but I still like it. It looks good here. And of course, that super mode, beautiful. I really do love how this turned out. He comes with his blaster and the matrix of leadership, and of course there is storage for the matrix. The back half of the fire truck mode can make a command center, and you know, I think that looks fine, maybe nothing special, but hey, it's neat that it does it, I suppose. The ladder is articulated, there's various like missile launchers and whatnot, and they're blast effects compatible, and also the ladder can fit Titan Masters. I personally don't really care about that. I never cared for the Titan Master gimmick, but hey, it's neat to have that option there. The super mode, you no longer have to fold up that piece on the ladder like you had to for the old toy. He's tall enough to not have to do that. And it seems for both this and for the Omega Prime that stability was a big thing for them. Apparently he's pretty secure. Apparently his backpack provides extra support for the armor and whatnot, so that's pretty cool. He'll have vac metal eyes and antenna, so that's pretty cool that they're bringing that back. And just all around, this looks like a perfect modern toy for this guy. He's great. I'm really not sure what else to say. Then there's Ultra Magnus, and I think he looks great in his truck mode, looks great in the robot mode. Now, of course, a big thing for me also with him, although more so than Prime, is the proportions, because man, the legs. The lower legs are super long, but then the thighs are just kind of little bits on him. I don't know. That's always been something that I haven't liked about this design, whether it was in the show or the original toy. But hey, it's going for accuracy, which I always love to see, so for better or worse, that's how it looked in the show, so that's what they're going to do here. But beyond that, I still think that this Magnus looks cool. I've always liked this Magnus design, proportion issues aside, and he looks really good here, and he's pretty big too. Like, he's damn near a foot tall by himself. Apparently in his truck mode, he can store 3 deluxe class vehicles, which is pretty neat, and he'll have a vac metal grill in the truck mode and eyes in the robot mode. And we get a, I believe, new character with this called Blue Bolts. He goes with Magnus, he turns into weapon accessories, and he can fill in gaps on Ultra Magnus, which is pretty neat that that option's there. You know, so basically in this set, you're getting 2 commanders and a deluxe class, and they're all pretty big. You know, the Optimus is basically as big, if not a bit bigger, I believe, especially in the super mode, than his original toy. Magnus should be around the same, and Blue Bolts was compared with Siege Hound, and he was noticeably bigger. And then getting into the Omega Prime mode, he is over a foot tall. You can still do the cool like handshake step thing in the transformation. He'll also have the vac metal eyes and antenna, has more articulation, kind of like Prime and Magnus compared to the original toy. You can use Blue Bolts as weapons for him. So yeah, I think this looks like a fantastic combined form, and it looks great. Definitely the highlight of the set, I would say, although the individual components are pretty damn cool too. So, you know, this looks great. Now this thing is $250 base price. That's not counting shipping or tax or anything like that. And I've seen a lot of complaints about the price, but to be honest, I feel like it's on the whole pretty fair, because you're getting 2 commanders, and just depending on the prices, that's going to be between $180 and $200 right there. And then you get a deluxe, which right now is hovering around $25, and depending on the tiers, which I haven't covered yet, you know, I feel like that would kind of fill in the rest of the price. Of course, if they don't make the tiers, then maybe it could be considered a little overpriced, but I don't know. I feel like it's pretty worth it even with just the base set, especially when you consider that the encore release of Fire Convoy, Godfire Convoy, back in 2018 was $280, and that was just for, you know, Optimus and Magnus, and of course their their combined form. And I don't know, it's just funny because I'm like, did people complain about the price then? I'm not entirely sure. I didn't really keep up with that release whenever it was coming out. And it's just funny to me that people are complaining about the price of the Haslab when it looks like an improvement in general. They're even bigger than the original ones. The stability is better. They're more articulated. So it's just like comparing it to the most recent release of the original toys. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty fair. And again, even more fair if all of the tiers are reached. So getting into it, they require 10,000 backers with backing going until March 14th. They said if it makes it, it'll go into production in the fall of 2025. But there are 2 tiers to be unlocked. Tier 1 will be unlocked at 13,000 backers, and that will include the Matrix Blade. It's almost 2 feet tall or 2 feet long, however you want to view that. It looks pretty cool. It's freaking gigantic, man. And then at 16,000 backers, you'll get some display bases that also make up the global space bridge that you see in the show, which I think is pretty cool. And again, they're pretty decently sized bases, so that's why I think that with the addition of a gigantic sword and 2 pretty decent sized bases, it'll definitely fill out the price. I plan on backing this guy. I haven't backed a Haslab since Unicron back in 2019, so this is pretty interesting for me. Star Saber and Desaurus look pretty cool. I just didn't feel the need to back them. Plus, I was kind of strapped for money at the time, if I'm being completely honest. So they both look pretty cool though. Although I will say, I do feel like Omega Prime kind of fits the Haslab thing better than they do. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped for this. I think this Haslab looks pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to backing this one. But tell me, what do you think about the Haslab Omega Prime? Are you going to back it? Do you think it fills out the price? Do you think the character even fits? Let me know down in the comments. And before we go, I want to give a shout out to Austin Gillis and Optimus Prime. They are members of my Patreon, and if you'd like to check out my Patreon, please check out the link in the description. But yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to them. As always, I want to give a big thanks to everyone for watching, and have a good one.